Welcome to the Happy Half Hour 2, because we're creating a happy hour between two episodes every Monday and most time on Wednesdays, occasionally on Thursdays, right here on chatmosa.com, CHATMOSA. If you're aware of Zoom, and who isn't, this is Zoom on steroids. It's got so many great features, and they keep adding week to week. And by the way, the customer service is incredible. We have one of the founders and the writers of the programming,
whose name is
Happy. Can you believe that? Who shows up regularly to make sure that everything's working properly and has helped us through so many of the bugs and the issues. Mary is joining us here as well, and we'll give her a microphone so she is welcome to join us. Steve-O, introduce yourself before we get rolling, and then I'll introduce myself, and we'll get Mary into the conversation as well.
I'm Steve. A lot of friends call me Steve-O. I'm a messenger. I'm here to help. That's why we created Happy Life Studios. So we want to help you find your happy, turn it on, and walk alongside you. I'm here to help. It's an acronym for I want to bring healing, encouragement, laughter, and make you ponder.
Awesome. And people can find you where?
At happylife.studio or happylife.lol. That is a webpage, and I have it.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Steve-O's been a podcaster for 10 years. I saw something like episode 400 and something, 470 something.
That's the number, but I guess the platform actually told me I have over 500 now, which isn't like some people get to 500 because they put out one a day, but we only put out one a week, and we're at.
How old are you? You must be like.
I'm 24. I'm going to be 25 next week. So
again, yeah.
Again.
Like
2 or 3 times now.
That's right. On my last birthday, I said, "Hey, this is the 30th anniversary of my 29th birthday."
There you go.
I'm Joseph Mojo McCarthy. You can just call me Mojo on all platforms, Mojo or Mojo Mac. And I am
MOJOE, by the way.
Right, MOJOE, not Mojo like coffee or Mojo like the Doors, Mojo Rising, but it's Mojo with a little extra. Mojo, E for extra. All right, and also that's part of my name. But I'm a certified master transformation life coach. Steve-O, by the way, is also a life coach, and we are planning some stuff in the background that we will launch here in the near future about how you can take advantage of our services and that we can help you in your journey of life as well. Woo-hoo. Yeah, and we're excited. HELP is Steve-O's acronym, HELP. What was tell the HELP again?
Healing, encouragement, laughter, and ponder.
Yes, and mine is play, PLAY, which we had developed these before we even talked. And play is, for me, is pretend, laugh, ask, and yield. And I love the fact when you put us together, we can help you play.
Come on.
All right, Mary, are you ready to unmute? Do you want to talk to us? Talk with us?
Yeah, I'm here, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Yes.
Microphone. Yeah, absolutely.
And you got your good hairdo on your PFP today, which is awesome. This is Awesome Mary, everybody who can't see or hear on Chatmosa. We have Awesome Mary. Oh, she's on TikTok as well. Awesome. So, Mary, just introduce yourself. Let people who know who you are, what you're about, where you are.
Well, I'm Awesome Mary on all platforms, and I, like Steve, have been doing live streaming for about 10 years as well. And I don't have a podcast or anything like that. I just do a lot of social interaction with people. I am a web designer, content creator, and many other things. I'm a proud mom of 2 young 20-something adults, and one lives in Reno, which I just came back from 15 days in Reno. It was a great experience, and then my son lives here with me, and great kids. I love being their mom.
And
I'd like to say this, Joe, before you go where you're going to go with this. I would like to just point out really quick that Mary, even though she was streaming before streaming was cool, right? And she just did it to stream. She did it as a way to help people, to make, and what we just talked about this last episode, the first half hour, we talked about, givers and takers. And Mary has, she isn't just a person that just posts what she ate. She goes online and she finds people that need help. That's one reason why she's here, because she wants to help. Mary is a giver, and she uses social media to give. And I honestly, Joe, I think that's heroic. And I think it's a great way to be a hero these days, is to, you and I both say hero is the same thing, right?
Yes. Someone who does the right thing
at the right time
Name?
for the right
Right
reason.
reason.
And when we can use our social media, talk about social media warriors. We talk about where people will hide behind their keyboard because they, no one knows who they are and they can type all these brave statements. Well, I think a real warrior, a real social media warrior, social media hero, maybe we should dub the term, is somebody who uses social media to make other people's lives better. They use social media to give. And Mary, I've only known Mary for a while, but it became evident to me right away that that's what she does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Steve, I'm going to jump on that too, because I met Mary on X as a karaoke host. And this is
Mhm.
before she was actually all that comfortable with her own voice. And so she was
Mhm.
doing it to create a platform, not only for English speakers, but for Spanish speakers as well.
Love it.
And I would just listen to her, and she's such a gracious host. And she was there primarily to help other people get a chance to sing. And then she would compliment them and encourage them, like she was pouring digital courage in her karaoke bar, right? She's a karaoke.
Right on.
So that's how I met Mary. And as a result, I was like, wow, this is so cool because I'm a singer. And now she created space for me. And she always made me feel like, thank you so much for coming. Like it was like I was doing her a favor and she was the one hosting. So anyway, Mary, I agree with Steve-O, and I'm so glad you're here.
You guys are so awesome. And you know what, Steve, I started live streaming before it was even something. I think there's only like 2 live streaming platforms, and I was in one of them. And I remember the first time I went on, it was like, it felt like I was like voyeurism. Like this one girl, she was just walking around her house. She was watching
Right.
TV. She didn't even know how to use the platform. She was just, we were asking her questions, and she wouldn't answer us back. And I was like, what is this? I'm like, that's so weird that I'm looking into her apartment and I'm looking to see what she's doing. And it has evolved so much since then. People are now, they know how to use it. They're using in many, 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 many different ways. And I love it. Yeah. Even the people who are only like walk around. I love the ones that where people walk around like New York City or in Japan or whatever, because that is giving, showing other people around the world that you can't travel to that location, of like, oh, wow, that is so awesome to see how other people live. And yeah, I love looking at the ones in Japan or in France, across the world, the same way as other people from across the world look at ours over here in America, because they're like, oh, I love America, but I can never be there, can never go there. And that is a part of giving.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and I've seen Mary open up spaces, not spaces, lives on TikTok when
Mhm.
it's snowing in Colorado.
Mhm.
It's a big picture window, and somewhere in
Big deal.
Colorado, the snow's coming down, and she's talking about the weather. And I notice a lot of people that tune in for those are like people, they've never seen snow. They've never
Yes.
experienced snow. They're like, oh God, that's magical. Well, what's
Yes.
that like, right? And so, as you said, you with no expectation of anything in return, you're
Yeah.
just open up a window to your world. This is really what you're talking about. Open up a window to your world to help other people experience world from a different perspective. And I got to tell you, that's pretty underrated. I don't think people realize how valuable it is to be able to see the world from
Yeah.
somebody else's perspective, especially when it's a part of the world you've never been.
Yeah. I do it exactly because I have this absolutely gorgeous view in my office. And oh my gosh, I can see when the snow comes down, it's so beautiful. And I do it exactly because of that, because there's people who've never seen snow. And I also do it when we have get some really gnarly electrical storms here, and I have a beautiful view of them. And when that happens, then I also turn on my TikTok, and and I just show people, and people are just like, wow, that is so cool. So
And I
yeah.
think what that brings up to me is what we're talking about here, especially you two talking about this. Giving isn't difficult. It doesn't cost a lot of money to give. It doesn't cost a lot of time to give. Giving, it's the smallest things that can make the biggest difference. And just give a little and watch it grow. But you don't have to do great, big, huge, awesome things, to change your world. You really don't. It's not hard to be a hero.
Yeah.
Amen.
In fact,
Amen. I agree with that. Totally agree.
100%, Steve. Well, there's a story out of the Bible that represents that very well. And Jesus was with his disciples, and they're standing in the back of the big church, the temple, whatever it was. And Jesus is saying, just pay attention to what's going on here. and there was some guy with lots of money, and it was clear he was dressed to the hilt, and he was kind of flaunting, "Hey, look what I'm giving," and gave some big check, right?
Yeah.
Then there was this lady off in the corner, didn't want any attention, didn't want anybody to notice, and she had what's called a mite, which was worth less than a penny.
Mhm.
And she puts two of them in the giving plate, right? And Jesus asked the disciples, which one gave more? And of course, the immediate answer was, which one gave more? That guy gave thousands
Oh,
of
no,
dollars,
of
tens of
course.
thousands, millions of dollars. She gave less than a penny. You put those two mites together, it still doesn't make a penny. And Jesus says, but imagine what they started with. Like let's just go with this is my interpretation, by the way. I'm not trying to quote the Bible, but my interpretation is Jesus said, well, let's do the math. Let's see who gave a bigger percentage of what
Right.
they give.
Right.
So the guy that gave up thousands, millions of dollars, that was a tiny percentage of what he had to give. And he was looking for attention. Look at me. I'm so good. The lady who had next to nothing gave all that she had. Those two mites were the last money that she had. She gave 100% of
Right.
what she had to give. And Jesus says, so which one gave more? And of course, the lights go on in the disciples' eyes and go, oh, well, obviously the lady that had nothing
Right.
because she gave it all. And I'm like, oh, pierce my heart, right? Because
I'm the same way too. I'm not trying to quote the Bible here either, as far as trying to be theologian here. But Joe, what you said, I want to tag on it real quick before we go to the next thing, because
Yeah.
I've always said giving isn't in the amount that you give; it's in the amount that you have left over after you've given.
Ooh.
Like when
Slow down. Say it again, please.
okay, I'll explain that in a second by explaining this. Like when I buy something on sale, I don't care as much about how much it cost and how much I paid for it. It's the difference between those two that matters to me. Like if I pay a really cheap price, but the thing was only worth this much anyway, right? Or if I paid a little bit more, but the thing was worth this much, this disparity between those two, to me, that's how I measure a good deal, right? Because I'm getting a good deal at that point. It's the same way in giving. And here's what you're asking me to say again. Giving isn't in how much you give, shouldn't be measured by how much you give. At least I think I like to measure giving not by how much I give, but by how much I have left over after I've given. And that's why that woman with two mites gave more, because she had nothing left. She had no way to buy food. She had no way to take care of her rent, to do any of that. She gave all that she had. And even people that talk about, we have host these big meetings, and we should, right? Big dinners, and someone gave $10,000. Yeah, but if they're a multimillionaire and they gave $10,000, I mean, that's like you and I giving 25. And good. I'm glad that they gave $10,000. I'm just talking about the mentality of everybody going, wow, they gave this and they get. Yeah, but how much do they have left over after they gave? What about the person on the side of the street that doesn't have anything? And like you, Joe, you and I have both traveled overseas and lived in people's homes while we were on tour.
Mary as well.
And Mary too, right? So you tell me I'm wrong on this. Like you'd stayed at someone's house and they made a meal for you, and it was all they had. They didn't even eat it themselves because they didn't make enough for them. And you could try to say, I can't eat this meal if you're not going to eat. They gave whatever they had left of them to honor you, a one-time guest. Am I wrong?
No, it's exactly right. Yeah, and I'll pass this off to Mary after I share the story, because I know she's got some as well. And I love the story, Steve. I'm glad you brought that up, because this couple in Bulgaria, they're retired. They lived in a very modest apartment that looked like it was built in the communist era, right? It was all gray on the outside, and they made it super comfortable with what they had, but it was clear they didn't have a lot. And so they brought me and my French horn player friend in for the night. The idea was we give a concert, and as a result, the people who were in the concert, they would take a couple of us home, feed us dinner, feed us breakfast, and send us off the next day with lunch. So we've done this over and over again. This is kind of the routine of the tour that I was on. So this beautiful couple from Bulgaria, obviously retired, elderly, they have us in. We showered in a big giant wooden tub, because they didn't have a true shower. So in the middle of their bathroom, which is basically a drain in the floor, take a handheld thing and pour water over us. And I thought it was cool to see, because I had never done that before. Hey, look at me. But then we went out for dinner, and they served these stuffed grape leaves. I remember this because I'd never had stuffed grape leaves before. And that's not why I remember it as much as this. They served me and my friend, and then sat down at the table with us with nothing in front of them. Well, we didn't speak Bulgarian and they didn't speak English. So we were kind of doing sign language, like, where's your food? And we'll wait for you. And, we're trying to make it clear. And they kept waving us off. We're like, no, we don't want to start without you. And they said, please eat. Now, finally, it started to dawn us, like, well, where's yours? No, this is all we have. We want you to eat this. This is all we have. And it
Wow.
wasn't with this tone of how great we are. It wasn't with the tone of feel sorry for us. It was with this tone of we want you to have what we have because it brings joy to us. And I got
Mm.
to tell you, that might be the most delicious meal I ever had because I never had grape leaves. I didn't know if they're going to be good, but I knew that these people sacrificed what little they had and
Mhm.
wouldn't eat. They didn't want to eat.
Mhm.
All they wanted was to see the joy on our faces when we got to eat what they had. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what it's about. How about you, Mary? You got any stories from overseas?
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of when I went to Cuba, and I went there for a mission trip, and it was the same. Those people have nothing, and yet they're the happiest people around. They're joy. They have a lot of joy. They're just so grateful, and I remember just um, especially the pastor and his wife that hosted us while we were there. They would ask us, "Hey, when you go to the hotel, can you can you give us the little shampoos and things like that?" So they could
Wow.
give to other people, not for them to keep, but that they can give it to other people in their church. And but I tell you what, we were fed like kings and queens, even though they didn't have, and we were like, "No, no, come sit with us." And no, they're like, "No, no, that's fine. There's not you're no, we're good. We're good." And yeah, I mean, it was very humbling. It was
And
very,
they're some
very
of the
humbling.
happiest people, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they just have happy. They have no finances, and
Yeah.
yet they're happy. And yet, why aren't we? Why aren't we pursuing
Yeah.
stuff like that? I mean, we always
Yes.
forget, and we always, yeah, we talked about it last
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
If money made you happy, then
Absolutely.
everyone who is rich would be happy. And we know better than that. And yet, there's still this thing inside of us. So maybe I should just talk about me here. This thing inside of me that still goes, man, if I could just get some more, if I could just get a little bit more money, if I could just this or that, instead of being content, with where I'm at. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is why we started last episode with, takers may eat well, but givers will sleep well.
So let me throw in a study that I heard, and I think this is a great story as well. Mastin Kipp, MASTINKIPP. He's a brilliant guy, social scientist, did a lot of healing work for his own trauma, and now consults some of the great success stories around the world. And he said in this interview with Tom Bilyeu on Impact Theory, he says, I have the access now to people who are at the top of their game, the top of their craft, businessmen, athletes, actors, entertainers, every walk of life. I get to consult with the people who are at the very top. And he said, here's the story that no one wants to believe because, as Steve said, we just can't believe it's true. He says, this is a very small percentage of the world's population that are this successful in terms of dollars and achievements and accolades and awards. And he says, the truth is behind closed doors, when they're off the record and they know that their name's not going to be attached to it, they will tell me as their coach that they're unhappy. And I'm like, you're unhappy? You're one of the most successful people I've ever met, especially in this field. And he said, I started corroborating and documenting all these stories of highly successful people. I mean, from the outside, the most successful people on the planet. And so few of them would ever say that they're happy, even though they're so successful. He said, so I started looking, there's a small percentage of that small percentage of the population, a tiny percentage that says, oh yeah, I couldn't be happier. This is the best thing. My life is better than I can ever imagine. So he's like, is there any factors that are similar in these stories? And he said, there's only one. There's only one factor that all the people who were the tiny percentage of successful people that said they're happy. And I'm like, what's that? What's the secret?
Share.
What's the secret, right? And he says, you know what the one thing they have in common? They didn't take the credit for their success.
Yeah.
They gave credit where credit's due. The people who were the happiest at the top are saying, I couldn't have got here if it wasn't for my mom and dad and my cousins and the village and the custodian and all my teachers. And they could name a zillion people that if those people hadn't given to them, the successful people, they never would have got to the top. They realized the success is it's a community event. I just happen to be the person with the title or with the money or with the things, but I never would have got here if it wasn't for Mrs. McCreary and the old guy down the street, and on and on and on it goes. And Meston said it wasn't that they didn't take any credit. Obviously, they worked very hard, but they realized that they didn't get there alone, or as Arnold Schwarzenegger often says, there's no such thing as a self-made man. You can't bring yourself into the world. You can't even survive for the first many years of your life if it isn't for other people. And so I thought, whoa, we got to talk about this, Steve-O, that this is a different kind of giving. This is giving credit.
Right.
Credit is due. This isn't giving money. It's not giving time. It's giving credit where credit's due.
And it goes right back. It goes right back to the quote that we started with, in the last half hour, which is, takers eat well, givers sleep well. And what you just said right there, you probably knew what you just said. If I want to point it out in case anyone else missed it, but you said the happy people were the people that didn't take credit, but they gave credit. So we've been talking about giving love, we've been talking about giving money, and now we're talking about giving credit. Joe's all excited over there because this is a mic drop right here. Like, yes. Give credit. If we want to be happy, then give credit. Don't take credit. And I don't know about you, Joe, but I want people to know. I want people, and there's something about that. I mean, we need to be at seen. We need to be right. But man, if you want to be happy, then give, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's talent, whether it's credit. Give. Don't take. Give. By the way, you want to talk about someone that lives this life? Did you see that we got Carlos on here on TikTok?
Carlos Moody, yes. So Mary,
one of the most. He couldn't believe it was you. He just said, Joe. He didn't recognize you at first.
Right.
Carlos is one of the most giving people that Joe and I met when I should speak for myself. That I met when I was in college. He was the nicest guy. He was one of the most talented musicians I have ever seen. He was a genius musically. He never took the credit for that. He always gave credit. In fact, Joe and I were in the same band with Carlos. It was Carlos's band. And
Harmony.
Carlos, he would take anybody. He would take anybody. Just because he took me playing trombone, right? Because he had singers. I wanted to be anyway. Yeah. Carlos, thanks for joining us today, because you are one of the nicest, most giving people that I have met. So it's perfect that you got on this.
Yeah. So funny, Mary. I don't know if you can see it on TikTok, but Carlos.
I see him. Yeah, that's nice.
Right. So it's been a long time.
He's like, Joe. Oh my God.
Since then, but Mary, what comes to mind for you when we're talking about giving credit where credit is due? Is it?
No, I love that, giving credit. I think that's something that I want to do more of, instead of patting myself on the back, is giving more credit, as I feel like I'm in a new chapter of my life where I'm learning so much in a super advanced time frame. I mean, it's just things are happening. I'm not the same person I was like even 3 months ago or 6 months ago, for sure. And definitely, and I mean, I'll say it right here. One of those people is you, Mojo. You've really helped me so much. We've had so many conversations, and you've, like, every time you've always been so positive. You've always been so, think about this, think about that, how about this? And it's really starting to change the way that I think, the way that I, communicate with other people. And I love that. And for that reason, I mean, I don't know if you want to announce it, Mojo, what you're going to be doing as far as, your coaching and stuff like that. But I was like, sign me up, man. Sign me up. You've already changed so much of the way that I think and I speak, that, I definitely want to be one of your students. So that giving the credit where credit is due. There you go.
Yeah. So thank you, Mary. That was honey to my heart. Your words are honey to my heart.
Very sweet.
Yeah. The fact that anything that I've said has had a positive impact on your life gives my life purpose and meaning, which is not much more valuable than that. And I want to throw into what Mary just said, this great story I heard between Ed Milet and Wayne Dyer. So Ed Milet, who's a great life coach, considered one of the best, if not the best, motivational speaker on the planet today. He's been voted that anyway. But he says when he was a young, unknown guy and he was transitioning out of baseball because he was injured, nobody knew who he was, and he had no idea what was his life. He was studying the teachings of Wayne Dyer, Dyer. And he was a big fan. And Wayne Dyer was like, sharing words like Mary was talking about, sharing words that were changing the way he thought about himself and the world, and it was making an impact on his life. And Ed said he was walking down the beach one morning, and he walks past this elderly guy, and he looks at him, and he like takes a double take, and he thinks to himself, "No, I think is that Wayne Dyer?" So he says, "I couldn't help myself. I said, Wayne Dyer, are you Wayne Dyer?" He says, "Yeah, why?" He says, "Well, Wayne, you've changed my life." And Wayne says, "I highly doubt that." And Ed's like, "What?" He says, I might have said something that helped you change your life, but I didn't change your life. I just happened to be at the right time at the right place doing the right thing, which we call a hero, Steve and I do. But you received it and you implemented it, and your life has changed not because I did something, but because you adopted and implemented it. And this is really interesting. It's such a fine line here, but a really important line to understand. And Mary was talking about, patting yourself on the back. And I got to tell you, patting myself on the back, I can do it, and it does nothing for me. But when someone else pats me on the back, whether it's actually physically and or metaphorically or with their words, fills my heart with, oh my gosh, I made a difference in someone's life. And that's really important. This idea that, I can't change someone else's life, but I can be part of their story, right? In the hero's journey that we all go on, I can't walk it for you, but I can coach you along the way saying, hey, here's what I've learned. You could take it or leave it. You could take it or give it, right? And then this idea that Mary and I have talked about many times is that whatever I have received, right, the stuff that I'm coaching, it's not something that just came to me out of nowhere. It's stuff that I've received either from teachings of good, really brilliant people who have gone ahead of me, or sometimes I think it's a download from heaven. But anyway, I didn't generate it like somehow I made it up. It's coming through me. But if I keep it to myself, nobody wins. I mean, I might benefit, but nobody else does. But by passing it along to the Marys and the Steve-Os and the friends of mine and anybody who wants to listen, well, I win, you win, we all win, right?
Right. Well, I get patted on the back. It makes me burp.
Burp yourself? Can you actually burp yourself? I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know. I've never had luck burping myself, but it's a gift that keeps on giving. Right. But you know what? You harvest what you plant. So what we just got done talking about was, when you give out credit, we all need to receive credit. But when you give out credit, you're going to get it back, because just like love, you can't outgive love. You harvest what you plant. When you plant a credit, then you get credit. When you give credit away, credit comes back to you. Love is the same way. When you plant love in your life or love in somebody else's life, love comes back to you. And the same thing is true with happy. And oftentimes, Joe, Joe has brought up the point that when you chase something, it's always running from you, right? So instead of chasing after happy, instead of chasing after credit, instead of chasing after love, give it instead, and then it will just automatically come to you. It's way easier. So givers, they might eat well, but I want to sleep well, right? And you're takers. That's why my brain turned off. I'm like, where are you at? Takers. When you take from somebody, you might eat well. But if you want to sleep well, then learn to give. Learn to plant giving, and it will come back on you. Whatever you need. If you need help, you need finances, you need credit, you need love, then give that away to somebody and watch it come back to you. And if you don't have money to give, you need money, then give of your time, give of your talents, But anyone can give away credit. Anyone can do that. And even Ed Milat with Dreyer, he just gave credit. He didn't even take the credit. He says, no, he gave the credit back to him. Yes. And those are, according to what you said earlier, those are the people that are happy, are the ones that learn to give the credit away.
Yeah. So we only have a few minutes left here, but let's take a little bit of a twist on the word credit. It just keeps jumping out. It comes up in this conversation.
I was waiting for you to jump on that. I was waiting. I knew it was going in your brain.
Yeah, because first we're talking about giving credit where credit's due. This person helped me. This person helped me. This person helped me. I wouldn't be where I was. I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for all of the people who have poured into my life. And then you talked about giving credit instead of taking it. And of course, what about financially, right? And I'm not talking about finances. I'm just talking about, what does that mean to give credit? It means you allow someone to purchase with your resources, right? And I don't know exactly where to go with this. I don't have this.
Wow, that's
idea
very interesting.
Formed, right? But if I'm giving credit to you, Steve-O, I'm allowing you to take my resources and use them when you're depleted until such a time as you're able to pay it back. And the idea, well, maybe I'm not just paying it to you, I'm
Wow.
paying it forward. So I'm going to give you, and Mary and I have talked about this as well, I'm giving you my encouragement, I'm giving you my belief in
That
you.
you can use,
Yes.
because you need encouragement to feel better about yourself. You need the courage, right? So when you give me your courage on credit, you credit me, I'm using it. But then once I get courageous again, once I'm full, guess what? I'm going to find somebody else to give to, or I'm going to give it back to you. Joe,
Yes.
what a
Yes.
great concept right there.
It's such a different way of thinking about paying it forward, right? It's not just buying a coffee for the person behind me, which is awesome. That's great. But it's actually giving people credit by giving them of my resources when they don't have them so that they can build them up, right? And not necessarily to pay me back, but to pay it forward. And that's how we all win. What do you think, Mary?
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? And I also think about, because you just said about, paying the person behind you. What about if your gift was somebody else's prayer?
Say
What
more.
about if what you gave was answering somebody else's prayer?
Whoa, give us a scenario. That's such a good idea.
Yeah. What if, I don't know, what if the person that I paid behind, I love doing that. I actually do it often.
Yeah.
Go to Starbucks, and when I don't do DoorDash, but when I go to actual Starbucks or even McDonald's, I'll pay for the person behind me. And what if that person said, "Man, I only have $2 to buy just a hamburger or whatever," and or whatever, and then I paid, and then they keep that money that they had. They couldn't pay, they didn't want to really spend it, but that's all they had, or whatever. Or if they were saying, God, give me a sign that you're listening to me, and I paid for them, and then they go, oh wow, that's a sign right there. So give. And I love, I've been rich, I've been poor and middle, and I do love it when I have money, because I love to give. I love to give money. I love to go to a restaurant and bless the socks off the waiter, or tip. We just went on a trip right now, and I was tipping away, but I loved it. I never gave and thought, oh gosh, never give with, that, because you're just wasting your money away. Give with gratitude and saying, oh man, I'm so happy that I can give this money, or I can, give this to this person. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my side of, I know a lot of times people say the love of money or whatever. I don't have love of money, but I do like it when I have, financial windfall, and then I'm able to bless people. I love it. I love doing that for people. Really,
Well, we
absolutely,
come
out of my
and we
heart.
come to that point too. Everybody would rather be the giver than the receiver, right? Every one of us would rather be the paymaster. Every one of us would rather. I agree with you, Mary. I'm the
Mhm.
same way. I want to give it. I don't want to have to receive, because it takes humility to receive. It's a hurt to the pride.
Right.
But for someone to give,
Mhm.
someone else, number one, has to receive, and or someone else has to be in need. And that's why we have, I was going to say this when you made that story last time about Tony Robbins' life was changed because a kid needed him, and he gave to that.
Mhm.
We I forgot what I was going to say with that. Shoot, because I was going to tab on it earlier too.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of we have to be able to receive. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Is that's why there's need in the world. It's why there's need in the world. I came across. Oh, I'm not even going to the story of that. There is need because that way someone else can give to it. And we nowadays we like to blame, right? When the floods happen in Texas, we want to blame somebody. And then how dare us make that a political statement on either side, right? How dare us blame anybody for that? Back in the day, and someone from Texas, I saw their post. They wrote this post that said, back in the day when there was a flood, we weren't blaming people for who the flood or didn't, whatever. We just went and we helped. We just
Yes.
went and we gave. And
Yeah.
then I want to go back to what Mr. Rogers shared, that whenever there was some traumatic event would happen in the community, in the state, or in the country, his mom would always say, but look for the helpers, son. Look for the helpers. And that's the point, is that um, we there's a reason why there's need in the world. And it's not so that we can blame somebody else because somebody else blew it. And if our politicians were just this, or if these guys are just that, or if those guys would just take care of that. Wait a minute. If I see a need, is there something I can do to help that? And when there's a need, it gives somebody else an opportunity to give. To give when someone doesn't have a need, it's just not the same as when somebody does have a need. So when there's a need, all it is an opportunity for giving to happen.
It's really good, Steve.
Volunteering is also a great way to give.
That's another
And
good one.
if you see like within your community that there's not, a group volunteering for a special cause, start one. Start a cause. I remember Katrina. I started my own neighborhood. People, donating stuff. I knew somebody who was going to go down there, and I said, "Hey, bring your stuff to my house. I'll send it to this guy who is going to go down there in a week or whatever." Give of your time. You don't have to have money.
I have a friend that did the exact same thing when the things happened in Kentucky, and we're blaming the government because the government wasn't doing this, right? And each party's blaming the other party. He said, forget the government. He loaded up his truck. He told all his friends, and he drove up there. And he had people that were part of politics saying, you can't pass that stuff out. And he's like, whatever, I'm passing this stuff out as a human being, as a humanitarian, So I love that attitude, Mary. That's it.
I love putting these great ideas in concise phrases. So this phrase came to me while you guys were talking, and what a great conversation. Instead of who can I blame, ask who can I help.
Yes.
I love it.
Instead of who can I blame, who can I help?
Blaming is easier though, Joe. Blaming is easier.
Oh yeah.
Help takes effort, right? Blaming is easy.
Yeah.
And then I'm off the hook. I'm like, well, that happened because so-and-so. And that's why, hold on a second. We're all humans here. If someone's in need, then we're all in need because we're all on this planet together.
That's right. 100%. Yep. Yeah. So good. So there's lots of places we could go with this. We are out of time. And I don't want to make the point, as Mary was talking about, it's great to have lots of means that you can't give. But I don't want people to miss the fact, what she said, so that I can be generous. Mm-hmm. And the point I want to make here is that, and I got this from Vishen Lakhani of Mind Valley. He says he trains everybody when they're hired in his organization to understand the difference and keep in mind the difference between ends goals and means goals. He says, oftentimes we get these mixed up. We think that the means goals are the ends goals, and money is just an easy example. Because money isn't what we want. Having a pile of paper, having a bunch of zeros in our bank account does nothing. What we want is the freedom and the ability to be generous, to do what we want, to go where we want, to get the things that we need, and to get things for others. And when we start to think about more money, then the money becomes the ends goal, and it's unfulfilling. When we realize I want money, which is the means to a greater end, that's so that I can be generous, so that I can take care of people, so I can have experiences, so I can have freedom.
Yes, exactly.
And this, we can go a whole nother session on this. Maybe we will on Wednesday. We'll pick this up to talk about the difference between means goals and ends goals, and how if we get focused on the means goals, it's unfulfilling and we become unhappy. Mm-hmm. Whoa, welcome. But if it shut the door, good. That was a great emphasis on what I just said.
It was an exclamation point. It was the wind came through the thing and just
you got a mic drop, baby. or if we can remember to say, okay, the means is not the ends. The means is the ticket. It's the trip. It's the vehicle that gets me to the ends, which is far more important. And that's how then I can stay happy, because I'm not focused on the means goals. I'm focused on the ends goals, which is, as you say many times, Steve-O, at the end of your podcast, if you want to be happy, what do? You
make somebody happy.
Make someone happy.
And you'll be happy too.
We'll be happy too. Right on. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Those on TikTok who have stuck with us for the last hour, our happy hours on TikTok, and the 2 happy half hours. Mary for being our guest on the first half hour, and then our listener on the first half hour, and our guest on the second half hour. And everybody who hears this, you have the invitation to join us on Chatmosa, CHATMOSA.com, and be a giver and a taker, because you're on the receiving end right now, but you can always contribute to the conversation.
So Wednesday, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, and then again at 6 on Wednesday this week we'll be meeting, and then again on the following Monday as well. Okay. So we'd love to have you come be a part of our our crew.
Thank you guys for having me. You guys are awesome.
Mary, you're
Thank
Love
great.
hanging
You're
out with
awesome.
you guys. Absolutely.
And thank you to Happy, who isn't here, but who made this whole thing possible.
Yes.
Until
You
next
don't get a
time.
much better thank you than that right there, Happy. That's
That's right. And like a harmonica, life is music, and you got to breathe in and you got to breathe
and
out.
breathe out.
You
You
gotta
got to
give.
give and take.
You got to take. It's an
Right
effort.
on.
So until next time, peace out, Steve-O and Mary.
Peace in, Joe
Peace,
and Mary
peace,
and everybody else.
peace out and peace in, guys.
That's right.
Bye.
Both are required. Until next time, love you guys.